In Peru, the Ministry of Economy's continued failure to comply with the fiscal rules could affect the country's fiscal credibility. Our correspondent Ramiro Angulo tells us more.
El anuncio hecho por el Ministerio de Economía.
The announcement made by the Ministry of Economy to modify the fiscal deficit rule from 2.2% to 2.8% of gross domestic product has generated concern because it reveals poor management of public finances.
Un mal manejo de las finanzas públicas.
It is one thing when expenses increase because investments are being made, services are being expanded, and the state's coverage is being expanded. But unfortunately, much of the expenditure that has been incurred in recent times is expenditure that is basically the result of political clientelism.
El Perú ya lleva 2 años seguidos.
The country has now been in violation of the fiscal deficit rule for 2 years in a row, a fact that, according to experts, could erode financial credibility and lead to higher interest rates on debt.
Endeudamientos a tasas más elevadas.
If your expenses start to skyrocket and your income is not growing, has stagnated, or, as is happening in some cases, is starting to decline, what is happening? You start to go into debt, and sooner or later you will have to pay that debt. So the financial sustainability of the Peruvian state is being mortgaged by a Congress that is already leaving.
Para los especialistas,
for experts, this mismanagement is the responsibility of a Ministry of Economy subordinate to Congress, which, among other controversial initiatives, intends to grant tax benefits of nearly $5 billion to agricultural exporters. There is a position in Congress that is not only committed to favoring powerful economic groups, such as large transnational corporations or powerful economic groups in the agricultural export sector and other sectors, but there are also congressmen who, as you know, are involved in corrupt acts. And they even cut the salaries of their workers. And there is also a Congress that we all know has a 5% approval rating and a government that has a 0% approval rating, so all of this is harmful to workers and the Peruvian people.
Para el economista y ex viceministro de Trabajo,
for economist and former Minister of Labor Fernando Codros, this scenario is worrying due to low tax pressure and the various risks that poor management of public finances can generate.
El mal manejo de las finanzas públicas.
The main risk, as I mentioned, is that not enough will be collected to be able to provide quality services, which will increase the fiscal deficit. That this leads us to use the fiscal savings that should be reserved for extraordinary situations, and if those fiscal savings are exhausted, we end up incurring more debt as a country, with a higher public debt burden. And we lose credibility and the trust of international economic agents, and that investment in the country is reduced.
Para los expertos, esta situación
Experts believe that this situation will lead to less resources being allocated to key sectors such as education and public health, affecting the most vulnerable.
Afectando a los más vulnerables. Desde Lima, para teleSUR, Ramiro Angulo Maquiavelo.